Hey guys, what's going on? It's the only Zoltan here, and today I wanted to record a little video about my thoughts on Halo and growth and where I see our esport going and what I think we need as a community. All the video clips that you're going to see are going to be from the UGC St. Louis event, the Halo World Championship qualifier that happened back in February. So in this video, I really wanted to just cover Halo's growth recently through Halo 5 and then just where I see us going in the future. I hear a lot of people talking about, here's what I think Halo needs, and here's what, we need to grow, here's what Halo needs, here's what Halo needs. It's like, I kind of wanted to just put out my thoughts on what I think we actually need, what'll actually make us grow as an esport, and kind of some more realistic ideas about how we can grow, and how big we can grow, what things we can and can't really do. So right off the bat, I'm going to throw out the comparison that everybody uses. At the end of the day, console and PC, we're entirely different platforms. If you're looking at PC esports and trying to get Halo to that kind of a level, then you've already failed. Games like League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, those games are going to have inherently a larger market of people to hit just because of how much more accessible the PC is than the Xbox and just how many more of them out there are. And I mean, if you look at some of the things that their community is doing, it's obvious why you would want to do those things, why you would want to be that big. These guys are, filling up professional soccer stadiums for people just to watch their world championships. If you look at League of Legends, they've just hit 1 million viewers on one concurrent Twitch stream for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, probably the most watched Twitch stream of all time. Those are incredible numbers, and realistically, to want to hit that is a good thing, but at the end of the day, for a console esport like Halo, it's just not in the cards. I don't think probably ever. And the PC market share of gamers is continuing to go up and up and up as the console market share decreases. So we're never going to have the numbers that a Counter-Strike or a League of Legends has. Realistically, at the end of the day, we have to look at other console esports. We have to look at things like Call of Duty. Call of Duty is the standard for console esports as far as production quality and tournament organization and things like that go. Obviously, at the end of the day, I want Halo to be successful, and I want there to be, Halo esports for a long time. But at the end of the day, we have to compare ourselves to something more reasonable. We have to kind of look at numbers that we can actually achieve with the amount of people we have playing the game that we have. Halo 5 is a much better game than we're used to having. It's a much more well-rounded game. There's not as many problems with it as we're used to. Halo 5, fills a lot of boxes that we needed, and I think 343 is actually working on things that are helping us as an esport. So I mean, they are doing things that are helping us grow as an esport. So at the end of the day, we really don't have things all that bad. There are some things that would definitely help this scene grow, but I don't think there are any of the things that anybody's focusing on. I think we're trying to jump into those bigger shoes a little bit too quickly because we want to be a Counter-Strike or a League of Legends. And I think that mindset probably throws a lot of people into this wrong mindset of we need to get bigger, and we need to do it faster than everybody else. Because at the end of the day, the growth of this esport is really going to come down to grassroots people. And I mean, if you look at the Gears of War community, there's a reason they've been around for so long, because their grassroots scene is so strong, and they don't have a need for these huge tournaments just to survive. They can get by with just the people that they have in their scene. And I mean, LAN play forever has just been the standard. Now that we don't have LAN play, I think it takes a lot more intentionality from people organizing local events to, build that grassroots scene. If you look at how successful the Halo 1 and the Halo 2 scenes were, it wasn't because we had $1 million tournaments, and it wasn't because we had a spectator mode. We didn't even really have, really great professional tournaments until we really got into the swing of things in Halo 2. So we managed to build an esport without any of those things. And it really all came down to the local scenes. There were communities of people playing this game. I think taking away LAN play really does hurt that scene. And I think if they really want their games to grow, and they really want to, inspire popularity like those old school games like Halo 1 and 2, or even some of the older Call of Duties or Gears of War games, then I think LAN play needs to be something that comes back. I mean, at the end of the day, without that, I think it's gonna always be a hindrance to the growth of any console esport. I think we need to bring people into the scene. We need to give them reasons to want to play. The entire reason I got into Halo esports because of watching my local communities compete in Halo and wanting to do that and wanting to be a part of that. So without bringing these new people into the scene and without giving them a chance to kind of grow and learn Halo as an esport, we're kind of just throwing them into the deep end and expecting them to stick around and want the game to succeed when we're really not giving them a reason. Now with Halo 5, we're starting to see it come back because, 343 is kind of just throwing money at the problem, which sure is going to bring back some bigger tournaments, but at the end of the day, it's not going to grow those local scenes as much as giving us things like LAN play would. Local leaders kind of stepping up and growing their local scenes. If you look at the Toronto Halo scene right now, we've kind of just started to really push these local tournaments. We've gotten like 20, 30, 40 people out to some of these events. Now with Halo 5, we've kind of started to try and bring back some of those feelings of the older days where, we get together for local LANs. It's, 8 guys that are kind of randomly thrown together. It's none of this set team stuff. And it's just kind of a chance to bring in those newer players. I think doing LANs where you're not showing up with a team of 4, you're just, showing up by yourself. You get randomized onto a team based on your free-for-all performance or something like that. Picking teams, captains kind of style, just to kind of try and balance out teams. I think that's kind of the best thing for our local scenes, because it's going to give us a chance to grow younger players who don't know the game as well. Because if you look at these larger tournaments that are happening, like Halo World Championship qualifiers and things like that, realistically, for a player who's not as engrossed in the Halo scene, hasn't played as much Halo as the rest of us, they aren't going to get much of an opportunity to grow at one of those events. They might play 2 series, get knocked out first round of open bracket, and then just kind of sit around and watch. You can only learn so much from watching, and I think you have to have those players that you can kind of play against that are definitely better than you, that you want to become better than, somebody that you can learn from. I think that was one of the things that helped me the most when I was coming into Halo 4 was local LANs with a bunch of my friends who were basically all better than me at Halo, but getting the chance to just play, real 4v4 Halo with communication and try to sit next to each other and figure out what it takes to actually win games, what it takes to communicate as a team. And I think that's the one thing that the Halo community is missing right now, is that grassroots younger scene of people that is really trying to become pros. And I think the minor league that is going on with the esports minor league for Halo 5 is a really great kind of step towards that. I think, giving people a much more reasonable kind of aspiration to look at, because obviously if you come into Halo fresh in Halo 5, it's not going to be as easy to just jump into the game and try to be the next Frosty or the next Hook. You're not going to be able to just dive into that most of the time. You look at guys like Shotzi, they're probably 1 in a million who can jump into this game and just perform at the level that he has and perform against pro players. You're not normally going to get people that can jump right into that. So I think we need to give these people a place and an opportunity to grow to that potential, and to get to that level. If you look at Halo in the past, that's how our growth has always happened. That's how console esports has always happened. Even if you look at games like Counter-Strike and League of Legends, those games grew because of the local communities that were playing them. You played with your friends, everybody had a PC, you would drive over to dorm rooms and stuff like that. I never played League of Legends competitively, but hey, I've played League of Legends with my friends before in the same room. I've played in a campus league with my friends because it was just easy because everybody played it. And when we had LAN, that was what we did when we played Halo, is we would play with our friends. We'd have 8 players, we'd system link in the dorm. One team would sit upstairs, one team would sit downstairs, and that was how we learned how to play the game, and I think that was where we saw the most growth. You look at Ohio and you look at Michigan, and you have these thriving Halo communities back in Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 3. And that's where a lot of our talent that we have today came from, and that's where a lot of those people that are at the top of Halo right now came from. And without those thriving local scenes, we aren't going to get as many of those people. And as people age out of the game, eventually, if people ever decide to retire, that's when we're going to need those local scenes, and that's when we're going to really see the impact of what we're doing right now. And I think Halo especially needs to look at adapting. We need to look at bringing in new faces to the game, making the game more accessible to more people. Does the game need to become non-competitive? No. At the end of the day, the game needs to stay competitive. We need to keep things in the game and keep things out of the game that make it competitive. Things like radar, I think, play an interesting role in that. I think, the game can be competitive with a radar, whether it's the one that we have right now or it's some sort of modified version of that. That's going to be up to people who have a lot more knowledge than me. If we want this game to grow, if we want this game to succeed and have a bigger audience, I think we have to build that audience, and I think we have to, step up and run these tournaments. People that can organize them, and people that have, the connections in their local communities to set up things like local tournaments at Microsoft stores or at GameStops or even at somebody's house. Those are the kind of things that we need to do to really put this scene on top and would basically guarantee us some sort of success, whether 343 is willing to make changes to their game or not. At the end of the day, we can't control what 343 puts into the game and what they change, but we can control who we bring into the game and the kind of events that we want to run with the game, and we can control our local communities. So that's, I think, where we need to start, and from there, we can grow, we can become this bigger esport. We can maybe get to the level that Call of Duty is at right now. Who knows, we can maybe even grow bigger than that. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't focus on the big things. We need to focus on growing the small things, because if we're just trying to dive headfirst into the big things, all we're going to do is throw a bunch of money around and sit there with our small little community and our small viewership numbers and wait for our esport to die is really all we're going to be doing. So keep an ear out, find your local community, find local players, talk to each other, find a place to play, and set up these local tournaments. 343 wants to support this. I mean, we've talked to Tashi at St. Louis. He wants to support these events. He wants to help grow those scenes. I know he's talked about, sharing the streams that we put out for Toronto Halo. Talk to 343, tweet out your streams. They will support you. They are going to want to grow those local scenes. They know just as much as the rest of us that that's how this scene grows. So don't sit on your hands and just wait for somebody else to do it. Get out, take the initiative, and start something in your local community. Well, that's it for me, guys. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you hated it, go ahead and hit the dislike button. If you want to see more videos from me like this, hit the subscribe button. I don't tend to put out videos every day or anything that crazy, but realistically, it'll just give you a little heads up whenever I push out a video, and it would mean a lot to me because that means more people are going to watch my content, and hopefully I can put out something that you guys actually enjoy listening to. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.